In a world that produces enough food, over 343 million people still face acute hunger. 2.5 billion adults live with malnutrition, whether due to excess weight or nutritional deficiencies. Malnutrition is not just about hunger, it also means lack of micronutrients, childhood obesity, and chronic diseases caused by poor diets. In 2022, 149 million children were too short for their age, and nearly half of all deaths in children under 5 are linked to undernutrition.
World Health Organization Sustainable Development Goal 2, Zero Hunger, aims to end hunger by 2030, but instead of progress, we've taken a step backward. By 2022, 735 million people were living with chronic hunger. Nearly 2.4 billion people had irregular access to nutritious, sufficient food, numbers we haven't seen since 2005. In the Philippines, the situation mirrors the global crisis. 1 in 10 households is food insecure. In BARM, the country's poorest region, over 34% of households are unable to meet their basic food needs. 74% of households resorts to emergency strategies, borrowing money, buying food on credit, or even selling tools just to eat.
Food security cannot be achieved without environmental sustainability. In the Philippines, the effects of climate change have already been disrupting the agriculture, most especially the most stable crop, rice. This impact hits hardest in the most vulnerable communities, those relying on rain-fed crops or with limited irrigation access. Climate-smart agriculture offers solutions. Techniques like alternate weeding and drying in rice can cut water use by up to 25% and emissions by up to 70% without overhauling existing irrigation infrastructure.
Conflict, climate shocks, social inequality, pandemics, price collapse, all of these fit into this food crisis. But there is a time to achieve zero hunger. We need a real, sustainable, and coordinated solution. And it starts with a local approach. Technology designed to serve those who need it most.
Over the next 5 years, artificial intelligence will be the backbone of our strategy to ensure food security in the Philippines.
Starting with rice, a critical pillar of their diet and economy.
Using advanced technologies, we will transform the way we manage agricultural production, beginning with data.
This strategy will not only inform our decisions today, but will adapt and evolve as we gather more data over time. Through satellite maps, we can precisely monitor the health of crops. With artificial intelligence, we analyze the satellite images and complement them with IoT sensors installed in the field. IoT sensors are small devices that collect real-time data on key factors such as soil, moisture, temperature, and pest presence. These sensors send data wirelessly, allowing us to receive instant updates on local conditions.
To process this data, we use convolutional neural networks, which help the system detect subtle changes in crop conditions, such as water stress or pest infestations that might go unnoticed by the human eye. This allows us to offer personalized recommendations to farmers: when to irrigate, how to fertilize, when to harvest, all in their local dialect.
Not all farmers have access to smartphones, but we can bring the information directly through digital community centers, equipped with tablets and satellite connections. These centers allow farmers to access real-time information, receive training on best agricultural practices, and upload data that improves our decision-making. The data they provide also feeds back into the system, allowing it to continuously improve its recommendations.
As we were saying, in the next 5 years, we will refine this AI system. In addition to predicting crop health, we will also be able to forecast price fluctuations, identify surpluses in the market, and alert the government to intervene with subsidized import control or inventory mobilization before losses are irreversible.
To build an AI system capable of transforming rice agriculture in the Philippines, we must start with what we already have: the data. Fortunately, the country has access to multiple existing databases that can serve as the foundation for this transformation. This includes satellite imagery from the Philippine Space Agency and international programs such as Copernicus Sentinel and Landsat, offering multispectral and time-series data and land cover, crop cycles, and climate variability.
We also rely on meteorological data from Pagasa, including rainfall, temperature, humidity, and typhoon patterns, combined with soil quality assessment from the Bureau of Soils and Water Management and shield report from the Philippine Statistics Authority. These datasets offer a snapshot of agriculture health at the national level.
Globally, we integrate open access resources such as NASA's SMAP data for soil moisture, FAO's crop calendars. Local organizations like Field Rice and agricultural universities also provide valuable insights into varietal performance, pest patterns, and irrigation techniques.
All of this is fed into our AI system, where convolutional neural networks and recurrent models look for patterns in key indicators: soil pH, nitrogen content, surface temperature, evapotranspiration rates, and even chlorophyll density, telling us not how much the rice is being grown, but how healthy, sustainable, and productive each hectare is.
Despite this abundance of data, the picture is still incomplete. The truth is that many of these databases are fragmented, outdated, or gathered through methods that do not reflect on the ground realities. For example, soil maps may be up to 10 or 15-year-old. Yield statistics are often generalized at the provincial level, failing to capture variation between individual farms.
There are also major blind spots in regions affected by conflict, migration, or underinvestment. A striking example is Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in the Muslim Mindanao, where decades of armed conflict have disrupted infrastructure, including data collection systems. In many areas, there's no recent satellite classification, no digital soil mapping, and no connectivity to upload real-time information. This means that large parts of the region, despite their agricultural potential, remain invisible to national planning tools.
Even where data exists, it often reflects the perspective of centralized agencies, rather than the lived experiences of farmers themselves. Women, indigenous communities, and tenant farmers are often excluded from service or lack the means to participate in digital platforms.
If we truly want a sustainable food system, we must confront these data inequalities head-on, because food security is not just about numbers, it's about people.
To build a future where food security reaches every farmer in the Philippines, we cannot rely solely on the top-down data systems. We need to rebuild the agricultural information ecosystem from the ground up. This means closing critical data gaps, not just with more technology, but with deeper connection to those who grow our food.
Our approach begins with relocalizing the data flow. Through a network of digital community centers, we empower smallholder farmers, especially in marginalized regions, to collect and share data about their own land. These centers, equipped with tablets, solar-powered connectivity, and training personnel, become nodes in living map of Philippine agriculture.
Using photo uploads and SMS reporting tools, farmers can now submit information in their own dialect and their own pace. This includes signs of crop stress, pest outbreaks, planting schedules, and harvest conditions. Their feedback is not only recorded, it's analyzed and reflected back to them as a real-time, localized advice.
To enhance the data's scientific accuracy, we introduce low-cost sensor kits across pilot regions, especially in areas like Bangsamoro, where historic neglect has created vast blind spots. These IoT devices capture soil pH, nitrogen content, moisture levels, and sunlight exposure. Combined with weather forecast and drone imagery, we generate hyperlocal environmental profiles for each farm.
By integrating these new participatory sources into our AI models, we unlock a new kind of intelligence, one that sees beyond the number and recognizes social vulnerabilities, conflict risks, access to create and even cultural planting practice.
In Samoro, AI can now account for the impact of intermittent displacement, insecure land tenure, or seasonal insecurity due to conflict, not just rainfall or soil quality. It can recommend not only the best day to plant, but also how to coordinate with nearby farmers to share tools, reduce waste, or store harvest in safer areas.
This deeper, more complete systems becomes proactive, not reactive. It can forecast yield declines months ahead, prompting early interventions with seed supports, subsidies, or infrastructure upgrades. It can even model the long-term impact of climate change and regional food availability.
But perhaps, most importantly, it restores agency. Farmers are no longer just recipients of data, they are creators of knowledge, participants in national strategy, and protectors of a system that grows smarter with every season.
This is what it means to close the data gap, not just to fill the missing numbers, but to recognize the people behind them.
When food is available, it's not just hunger that disappears. We prevent disease, reduce chronic malnutrition, and protect life, especially during childhood.
In Bangsamoro, a region long affected by conflict and inequality, the lack of food has silently fueled public health crises for decades. But today, we have the chance to change that story.
With tools like artificial intelligence, ground sensors, and satellite imagery, we can anticipate shortages, redistribute surplus, and support smarter health and nutrition decisions. Feeding a community will also mean relieving the burden on hospital and health centers.
VitalData Insights was born from that conviction, that public health starts with food security, that data can save lives, and that building resilience from the ground up is how we grow peace, health, and a stronger future.